Earlier today, it was fun in the sun here in Florida, but cloudy skies overhead. Let's hope the rain stays away for game number 4 tonight. It's the Cardinals and the Florida Marlins as the Redbirds look to make it 3 of 4 against Florida. A story that's developing with the Cardinals here late in this season, the rookies. And how about Chris Perez, the closer last night, another 5-out save. He now has 3 on the season, 2 in this series alone. From one closer to another, Al is standing by with Perez.
Thanks, Dan. Well, Chris, I haven't heard too many young pitchers say that they only want the 9th inning.
Yeah, you know, that's I've been doing it for probably going on 4 years now, and I feel really comfortable late in the game. And you know, my first time up, I got a couple opportunities late, and I did all right, and then kind of fell off into the 6th and 5th innings, and you know, I just feel comfortable in the 9th. I know what to do. I know what the hitters are trying to do, and you know, I'm a strikeout guy, which helps, and you know, I like being in the game when the game's on the line.
And I think that is it. Just the mental attitude is what makes closers.
Yeah, you have to have a short memory, even pitch to pitch, batter to batter. You know, I have the thought process that I know I can strike somebody out when I need to, and so if I'm in a jam, I always have that in my back pocket, being able to strike somebody out. And like last night, you know, sometimes I get ground balls, that helps too.
That double play was big, wasn't it?
It was huge. You know, Troy made a great play, and I went back and looked on video. I hit my spot. It was low and away, and he actually turned on it. So, you know, it brought Troy towards the bag and made it a little easier play for him.
A lot of people, Dave Duncan included, says that you're not quite ready for this role. I know that doesn't bother you at all because you want the ball and you want it in the 9th inning.
Yeah, I want the opportunity to show them that I am ready. You know, that was my whole goal in the minor leagues. I was always used as a closer, and that's my ultimate goal, was to be a closer in the big leagues. And you know, some unfortunate circumstances have made it a little earlier probably than what they want. But you know, I'm just going to try to go out there and keep doing my job and get outs and then help the team win.
I know you can handle the 9th inning, but you got to work on your hitting.
Yeah, it helps if I'm able to swing the bat. I got orders not to swing the bat last night, and you know, got a full count, and I was trying to work a walk, but you know, it just didn't happen.
It's been a lot of fun, Dan, watching him close out these ball games out of necessity, but he's getting the job done. Back to you.
All right, Al, good job. Our thanks to Chris Perez for sitting down with us. And coming up, we'll talk about the starters in this series, from the closers to the guys that begin the game. They've done a very good job so far. Marlins and Cardinals just around the corner. Welcome back to Florida. Tonight it's game 4 between the Cardinals and the Marlins from Dolphin Stadium in Miami. Dan McLaughlin, Al Raboski with you. Pitching so far, and our Ford Key has been good as far as the starters are concerned. Pinheiro, Loge, and Looper.
And Loge's numbers because of the rain, so that's why it's only 4 1/3 innings. Todd Wellemeyer is going to pitch tonight. He, in 5 years at the big league level, had 9 wins, and he's looking for number 10 here tonight.
Isn't that something? He'll try for number 10, the former Marlin. He was with Florida back in 2006. Scott Olson, 6-7 on the year for the Marlins. More coming up in just a moment here on FSN. Cardinals baseball on FSN Midwest is brought to you by Bud Light Lime, the superior drinkability of Bud Light with a splash of 100% natural lime flavor. By Auto Tire, for the lowest prices in town with 26 locations to serve you. You ought to go to Auto Tire, the tire pros. By Steak and Shake, famous for steak burgers. And by Geico Direct, a 15-minute phone call could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Come to Dolphin Stadium, you take in a little baseball and a little Guitar Hero. And there's Tony La Russa in his office earlier tonight, Al. He was saying that this is one of the biggest games of the year, to come into Florida and have a chance to take 3 of 4.
No doubt about it. And in the past, Cardinals have struggled in that 4th game of a 4-game series.
Let's take a look at his lineup tonight. Joe Mather. This is a change from when we first got to the ballpark. Mather's in center field and leading it off. Ryan Ludwig is in right. Albert Pujols, the first baseman. Troy Gloss, big night last night. Back in there again for game 4. Molina's in there, followed by Lopez in left. Then Miles, Wellemeyer, and Istura since the trade. Hitting .286 is Felipe Lopez. This guy is talented, but he has been up and down in his brief major league career. It's a Rico starter at Scott Olson. And sometimes his emotions get away from him. Probably the reason for the dramatic change in the lineup is the fact that Olson has held left-handed batters to a 177 average. The defense behind Olsen, team that has struggled defensively this year. 3 starts, by the way, for Olsen against the Cardinals, and a 7 ERA. Gonzalez, Amezaga, and Hermida in the outfield. Cantu, Ramirez, Uglin, Jacobs along the infield. And once again, it's John Baker behind the plate. The Cardinals had 18 hits last night. Would have been a crime if they didn't win that game. First pitch to Mather. Made a terrific catch in left field last night. He's taken for a ball.
One of the reasons why it was such a close score and the Cardinals only scored 6 runs was all the singles.
Mather fouls it back. 1 ball, 1 strike. Had rain in the area, so the Cardinals had their batting practice cut short. No surprise, that's what you get when you come to Florida. The sparse crowd once again. The 1-1 pitch to Joe Mather from Olsen on its way. First pitch at 7-11 tonight. Temperature 78 degrees. Humidity near 80%. Rain in the forecast tonight as well. Olsen's been dealing with a sprained ankle. He sprained it in his last start. And initially they thought he was going to miss this start, but he says, I don't miss starts. I'm in the major leagues. They pay me to pitch, and that's what I'm going to do. He sprained his right ankle.
And the one thing he threw on Monday and pronounced himself well enough that you just have to be very cautious that you don't alter your motion and hurt your arm.
2-2. Down to Mather. Full count. Ludwig on deck. And see what Joe Mather has done against the lefties. He's actually been better against right-handed pitching, which is a little bit surprising. The people are still buzzing here at the ballpark about his catch. Hit sharply to the left side. Jorge Cantu with it, and the first man retired. It was a catch that was in left, and I was talking with Kyle McClellan, who was on the mound when the ball was hit. He said, initially, I thought it was just going to be a routine fly ball, but then it kept on carrying, and lo and behold, it was one of the great catches we've seen this year.
Mather did a good job of measuring it, took his time getting back, and then leaped at the wall, and because of his tall frame, he was one of the few that was able to go up over the wall and catch it up against the scoreboard.
Here's Ludwig. That one stays foul. Remember what happened last night off the bat of Cantu. Little squibber, all the English on it. It was about 2 feet on the grass foul and rolled fair. And you said you had never seen one like that.
Not at all. Can't recall anything had ever been on the grass.
Let's hit out of play. Strike 2 on Ludwig.
That went completely across the base path into fair territory.
See what a difference a year has made for Ludwig. This time last year, he told me, just getting my feet wet at the major league level and trying to stay here, not be sent down, prove that I belong. And by the end of the season, he said, I knew I belonged. So now it was just a matter of just trying to get some things down mechanically with my swing, trying to shorten it up. And he has shortened up the swing a little bit compared to last year, and his numbers prove it.
And he's also, went on an extensive weight program. Did a few things in the off season, but he came in to, into Florida, into spring training, feeling like he was ready to have a big year. So he even asked me today, is the media still surprised with what I'm doing, or would they accept the fact that I can do this?
Swing and a miss, and your answer was?
I said, well, I know we can't. We do. We saw last year when he came up, and remember, he had a terrific time as a pinch hitter. Olsen gets him on a breaking ball.
I think he asked you that, Al, because it is surprising to see him as a representative of the Cardinals at the All-Star game, but people always ask him about the injuries too. That's part of the story of Ryan Ludwig.
Sure, and that's why, as a very highly touted prospect, it took him so long to get really cemented here at the major league level.
Pitch at the knees, off-speed pitch from Olsen to Pujols. Not many of the hitters in this lineup have much of a history against Olsen. Pujols is 3 for 9 with a home run. The pitch is popped up, and Olsen will get the Cardinals to go down 1-2-3 here in the top of the first. Marlins coming up in their half against Todd Wellemeyer when we return here on FSN. Easy inning for Scott Olsen in the top of the first. Here come the Marlins. Here in this ballpark, pick a seat anywhere you want. Batting order for the Marlins: Ramirez, Gonzalez, and Cantu, followed by Jacobs. He's got a couple of home runs in his last 5 games, that coming at Shea Stadium. Then Ugla, Hermida, Baker, Amezaga, and Olson, the pitcher. Against Todd Wellemeyer, our Rico starter for St. Louis, trying to pick up his 10th win of the year. First pitch hit high in the air off the bat of Hanley Ramirez. The shallow right, who wants it? It'll be Ludwig.
A late break by Ludwig, but he got there.
You get the feeling that it's just tough to pick up at this time of the night. Overcast skies here in South Florida. Auto Tire defense as we go around the horn. You see Wellemeyer since the break, 5 starts, a record of 2-0. Felipe Lopez is out in left. Joe Mather in center. Ryan Ludwig is in right. Gloss, Isturis, Miles, and Pujols on the infield. Yadier Molina, another start behind the plate. So 1 pitch and 1 out. Dangerous man in Ramirez, and here's Luis Gonzalez, his 2nd consecutive start for Freddie Gonzalez. How about the story of Todd Wellemeyer? And I'm sure the Cubs and the Marlins look at this and are thinking, how do we let this guy go? But he had only started 11 games prior to this year in the big leagues.
And that's over, what, 5 years or so?
Right.
Yeah, everybody recognized that he was an extremely hard thrower, but nobody really made that suggestion of backing off.
Fouled back.
He's got a good slider.
He said, though, lately, and we'll have to keep an eye on it, Al, but he was saying that his changeup over the last 3 games is the best it has felt all year.
Right. And, you know, he had that elbow issue. He was the National League Pitcher of the month of May. Very good in April and May. Then he kind of, that elbow flared up and gave him some problems, but he's coming back strong now.
And if you talk to any pitcher, they'll tell you that slider, if you throw it properly and you put that torque on the elbow, it's probably the toughest pitch to deal with if you have a tender elbow. And that's something that Wellemeyer had for a while.
Right. Remember last year he went on the disabled list when his motion, he hit his pitching arm on his opposite knee in his follow through. And then this year he had those elbow issues.
I was talking with the members of the Cardinals coaching staff, and they feel the upside with Wellemeyer is huge as a starter. I mean, they really like him. Here's the changeup, it looks like. Gets Gonzalez out in front, and it's pulled fair. That's a fair ball. Gonzalez looking behind, trying to get help from the home plate umpire. It's a fair ball, and that's 2 away. Todd Wellemeyer a couple years ago, the 06 Florida Marlins, 18 games. That's Gary Bennett and Aaron Miles. 0-2 is his record. Here's Scott Rowland, the former Cardinal. ERA was close to 6 with the Marlins back in 2006 for Todd Wellemeyer.
Well, that's a situation where Dave Duncan noticed him, and Freddie Gonzalez came out there and saved a little face for his Luis Gonzalez, who was protesting and thought the ball was foul, but you know, recognized that, hey, this guy has a solid arm, but an underachiever. Now, he's been able to do something with him. He thought the same thing about Kip Wells. And I don't know if you saw it, but recently he was let go by Colorado when they signed Livan Hernandez.
Here's an 0-1 pitch. And that's strike 2. Jorge Cantu.
Sometimes Dave Duncan will take a pitcher, an underachiever, and kind of, you know, face-to-face, heart-to-heart talk with him.
Breaking ball lifted into shallow right and a base hit. Little blue pit for Jorge Cantu. Made a good pitch too. The Miami Hurricanes, the Miami Dolphins, and the Florida Marlins all sharing the stadium. So this place is going to be beat up. This is what, around the 35, 40?
Close enough. But I talked to Jose Oquendo, and he thought the playing surface was playing extremely fast. And they did have the exhibition game before he came in here, but he thought the grounds crew did a great job of making it very playable. But as the football season takes over, you know, this is going to get chewed up more and more.
Let's see how they want to pitch Mike Jacobs. Earlier in the series, we saw away, and then try to bust him in. Then last night, more of a case where they went in and tried to elevate with Jacobs, who stands off the plate. They say that down and away, though, is a pitch that he'll go get and try to yank it and hits it for power.
Set up inside. You know, not everyone has the ability to pitch inside successfully. Talk about frequently that fastball command. Never heard that expression, because everyone could command their strike zone, command the fastball in and out, up and down. Today, it rarely.
That's a pop foul. News from San Diego. The Padres defeat Milwaukee. Jake Peavy made that start for the Padres. So the wild card race, the Cardinals have a chance to cut it 2-3 games. Just hanging around. The Cardinals, the Mets and Phillies 5 games out. The Marlins now 6.5 games out.
This be the time, and you know, to go on a nice little winning streak.
The Cardinals will face Cincinnati this weekend, and they are going to face some very good pitching. Bronson Arroyo 10-9. He'll go tomorrow. Brad Thompson, by the way, is already in Cincinnati. He'll take the spot of Chris Carpenter, who's with us here in Florida. Aaron Harang will go on Saturday. His record really surprising at 3-12, but trying to pitch through injury this year. Then Edison Volquez, we'll see him on Sunday. So 3 of their best pitchers going this weekend. High fly ball into left center. Mather is over, and he has it. The Marlins strand a runner at first base. Gloss, Molina, Lopez coming up. This season, FSN will bring you more Big 12 football than ever. Our schedule is 19 games, all in high definition. Weekly preview shows, classics, replays, and more. Best of all, our 2008 season finale is KU and Missouri from Arrowhead Stadium. Big 12 football season long right here on FSN. That's Al's favorite cameraman, who has the night off, obviously. That is Jasper. And I don't know his last name.
He's no longer my favorite.
I don't know if he has a last name. I just know him as Jasper. How about Smith or Jones?
He's no longer my favorite. If we have to work and he doesn't, he's our buddy.
Why is he not working tonight? You talked to him last night.
I said hello to him last night.
As Gloss hits it out of play.
Since you won't let him work in the booth up here anymore.
And I think everybody around us is thankful.
Jasper has a tendency to talk loud on his cell phone while he's working.
Here's the 0-2 pitch to Gloss. He rips it into left center field. Pretty well hit. It's at the track, and it's off the wall. Off the scoreboard out there in left center field. And how hot right now is Troy Gloss? And right on cue, Al, we're going to tell you about Saturday, August 23rd. The Braves are in town. Tickets.com. Troy Gloss Giant Baseball Card Day. All fans ages 15 and under receive an oversized baseball card featuring Cardinals third baseman Troy Gloss. For tickets, please go to stlcardinals.com.
Troy's 6 for his last 9 in this series. Trying to come in on him, and it's out away from down right there where it drops the bat hit. Olsen has allowed 22 home runs, and that's one of those plays that, you know, you could see how it could be troublesome. That was very similar to the type of play that we had the umpires replay on here.
And replay,
Frank Pullick,
yeah, will be a part of baseball before the year is through.
Still trying to work out the final details, and it'll be on, how did they phrase it? You know, the home run, but they gave another
judgment calls of, you know, whether fan interference or fair or foul, those kind of things. And almost in the identical spot left center field, but that'll be caught. Didn't quite have the distance like Troy Gloss. And Gonzalez made the play, and Troy is back to second base. So Molina can't advance Troy Gloss over to third. Brings in Felipe Lopez. So Molina gets the start tonight. But how about the double for Jason LaRue last night. That was a huge base hit for the Cardinals in the 7th inning.
2-run double that broke a 2-2 tie. And, you know, Molina probably got one of his last days off, unless you a day off on a day game after a night game. But I would suspect with the 4 off days to the end of August, you know, you're going to see an awful lot of these guys just gutting it out.
And Tony La Russa, I talked to him about his rotation now that Carpenter is back in. He will throw on the side a bullpen session in Cincinnati. What does that do for his rotation? Bunch of off days coming up. And Tony basically said, look, I had from now on until early September, almost mid-September, with my rotation set with Chris Carpenter in there. Now that's changed, so we really need to see where he's at to try to figure out where to pencil him in. And Dave Duncan was asked about the role. I asked him about the role of Wainwright. What happens now if Carpenter feels healthy enough to go at some point next week or within the next 10 days? And he said, great question. We just don't know.
Well, that's it. And by stretching Wainwright out another 20 pitches, he could adapt either role.
Foul tip, 2-2.
Prior to Sunday night and Carpenter's exit, you know, everything was pointed towards returning as a reliever. Now that's in jeopardy and limbo.
2-2 on Lopez. Just a strain and a muscle in the back of the shoulder. Not considered serious for Chris Carpenter. And this ball is lifted in the air to deep right center field. Amezaga gives way to Hermida. Gloss will tag up from second to third and stays right there. Sunday night is TV's biggest night. It's the summer sports block, beginning with the Hooters Dream Girls, then baseball's golden age, followed by amazing sports stories, and finally the best damn top 50. It's the summer sports block. It begins Sunday at 7, only on FSN Midwest. So Lopez flies to right, 2 down, and it brings in the switch hitting Aaron Miles, who started at shortstop last night. And in Tony La Russa's lineup, you have the pitcher on deck, batting 8th, and that's Todd Wellemeyer. So could be pretty careful here with Miles. Yes, Al.
Just smiling. Just marveling at the crowd noise.
And Miles lays down a bunt. Olsen can't make the play. Gloss started to come home, and I think that disrupted Olsen. And in a way, you know, you're happy to see that Miles gets on base, but you bring the pitcher up in this spot and leave it to him to drive in that run.
Number 37, pitcher Tom Wellemeyer.
I don't like it unless it was a safety squeeze,
right?
You know, but Gloss, seeing the pitcher so near the foul line, he was worried about him just reaching out and tagging him. But now you leave it up to the pitcher. Wellemeyer does have 6 hits and 3 RBIs.
First pitch to him is swung on and missed. Like you said, it's a good play if that runner from third scores.
Right.
Now you have a lesser hitter in Wellemeyer at the plate. With 2 outs, runners at the corners, first and third. No score here in the second inning. That's at the knees, strike 2 very quickly. The sparse, and I mean sparse, crowd makes a little noise. This might be the smallest of all the 4 nights we've been here. With the rain earlier today keeping people away.
Most severe weather during the afternoon today, with reported tornado touching down miles from here.
Here's the 0-2. Got him. Second strikeout for Olsen. Ugla, Hermida, Baker coming up for the Marlins. Dolphins and Marlins. Here's the comparison. The first season for the football team, 1966, 2 championships. The Marlins, 93, they have 2 championships. You see when they're in St. Louis. But how about the the Ring of Fame here at this ballpark, this facility. 9 in the Hall of Fame for the Miami Dolphins, and for the Florida Marlins, nobody.
Zilch. Not the undefeated team. They've got a lot of their favorite players here. 9 Hall of Famers.
None of them have stuck around long enough. Miguel Cabrera has the highest career batting average in Marlins history at .313. He's now with Detroit. Luis Castillo has the most career hits, over 1,200. He was traded to Minnesota. Most home runs, RBIs, Mike Lowell. He's with Boston. Best on base percentage, Gary Sheffield. He's on the waiver wire with Detroit. Josh Beckett with Boston. Best career ERA. Ugla fouls it back. Most career wins and strikeouts, it's Dontrell Willis. He was part of the Cabrera deal to Detroit. And Braden Looper, the most career games played in Marlins history, 368. And he was released by Florida. Cardinals swooped him up. The 2-1 pitch. So there you go. What about Jack McKeon?
He's on the wall in the press room.
Jim Leland. That'd be another one. 2-2 pitch. Or maybe something to commemorate all the no-hitters they've had. Well, with Al Leiter, Kevin Brown, Sanchez, A.J. Burnett.
Nothing.
Nada. Zilch. 3-2 pitch to Ugla. Ripped out to left. Over the head of Lopez. Into second base, and they got him. Trying to stretch it into a double. And Dan Ugla runs into an out.
Ugla has had a ugly series on the base paths. Yachty's thrown him out twice. You know, and sure isn't running very hard for trying to get into a double, so a fatal mistake right there. You know, he's thrown out twice in the one game, including there in the 9th inning after he walked in a 1-run game. But there, once again, here you have to run hard if you're going to try to stretch a ball into a double or an extra base hit.
May have avoided the tag, but the throw beat him there, and 9 times out of 10 those umpires are going to call that.
Lance Barksdale with the call, and he also was kind of screened, so he couldn't really see that that right hand might have touched the base ahead of the tag.
It's played very well by Felipe Lopez in left field off the wall as well. Liner caught it short by Izturis for out number 2. Go back to the play by Lopez. Played this very well off the wall. Gave himself a shot.
Bounce up there, turns and fires. Miles with a tag.
There's John Baker. Ugla, of course, had the base running mistake. Caught stealing, down by 2 runs in the 9th earlier in this series. John Baker has played well against the Cardinals in this series.
4 for 9. Swung the bat well.
Couple runs scored on the year, hitting .256. The Marlins certainly have a shot in the National League East. New York, Philadelphia tied identical records at 64 and 56, and Florida just a game and a half back.
Philadelphia's lost the last couple games, right, on the West Coast.
Article today in USA Today about Manny Ramirez. The Phillies will play Los Angeles tonight. The impact that he's already had both on and off the field in LA. The 1-2.
And his dreadlocks appear tonight, I believe.
Nice play made by a fan below us to our left.
I thought he was supposed to cut his hair on the beginning of this homestand.
Al, it's marketing. And you can sell hats with the fake dreadlocks and make money. So
no. I mean, but I thought Torrey had requested, and he
did.
And he was going to oblige him.
I thought so too.
Waited till he got home.
Slowly hit to short. Izturis up with it. Good inning for Todd Wellemeyer. A little help defensively from Lopez. Esturis, Mather, Ludwig coming up. If anybody can reach, Albert Pujols.
Welcome back to Dolphin Stadium, and Dan and Al have been talking all week long about the sparse crowds here in South Florida since we got here on Monday. We haven't seen a whole lot of energy inside this football and baseball stadium. I talked with some of the people from the Marlins, though, and they said that this team is in the top 10 among the 30 Major League Baseball teams in television ratings. So there are a lot of fans out there, but for one reason or another, they want to watch on TV, and the ballpark is not the place to be. But obviously the issues being weather, as well as a lot of people in Florida obviously not from this area. So a lot of Boston fans, Cubs fans, which will be here all weekend long, and Yankees fans, of course, as well. Guys?
Okay, Brent, thanks. And, you know, obviously the crowds haven't been coming out for a number of years. Part of the reason, too, though, Al, it's not just the stadium or the product that's on the field this year, which is competitive, but you know, these fans see their favorite players come and go pretty quickly, and guys in the prime of their careers after winning World Series.
Yeah, it's numerous things, and the fact once you come here, you can't use an umbrella. It rains every afternoon. You also there's nothing around the stadium. You know, there's no restaurants. There's nothing to where somebody could come and enjoy the atmosphere before a game.
Base hit into right for Esturis. His average above 250 at the start of play tonight.
And by the way, they are 7th in television ratings, the Florida Marlins, so they do have a lot of people watching.
There is a following, and with a team like this that wasn't expected to do anything, kind of like the Cardinals, team that has some new faces, fresh blood out there that all of a sudden has generated excitement. I think people in St. Louis, to focus back on the Cardinals, absolutely have fallen in love with this team because of how hard they play, the fact that they have surprised a lot of people, and it's young players not making a ton of money that haven't been around. There's a pickoff of Esturis, throw to second, they throw it into left. On his way to third, and Gonzalez will just toss it back into second base. And the Cardinals catch a break here.
We talked about this team committing so many errors, but Florida had played error-free over the past 5 games. And this, you know, I guess it was a little bit wide, but Ramirez has committed 20 errors at shortstop. That could be Jacobs' 9th error, the first baseman. And I'm sure they'll give it to the first baseman.
So a chance here for Joe Mather. Cardinals have picked up 3 base hits, first time through this lineup against Olsen. Mather grounded out to third to start the game. He's in the leadoff spot. Ooh, and he had a pitch to drive there and fouled it back.
You know, the Cardinals have committed 7 errors in the last 4 games, giving them a total of 63. Well, that was a 94th error for Florida Marlins.
Here comes an 0-1 pitch to Joe Mather. Pulled foul. Understanding is that the Cardinals TV ratings, and we can't thank the folks around the country for tuning in, number 2 in baseball. The Seattle Mariners have quite a following. Number 1, according to Tom Mee, our fine director and producer, along with Mike Helling and Doug Stanton and Brian McCann, our Bud Productions crew.
Well, going back to what you said, I think we're all pleasantly surprised how well this team has clicked, and the way they play hard 9. It's been a lot of fun for us broadcasting these games this year.
In the air to shallow center. Amezaga, late break, makes the catch and fires back into the infield. Strong throw. So that's out number 1. A chance for Ludwig and Pujols to follow. So the big bats coming up for the Cardinals. This date in baseball history is brought to you by Schnucks. August 14th, 1971, Bob Gibson no-hits the Pirates. That happened in Pittsburgh back in 1971. The great Bob Gibson.
Made the final out with a catch of fly ball in left field. Ted Sizemore.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Ted has retired from Rawlings, living in St. Louis, the former Rookie of the Year.
World's greatest sports manufacturer, Rawlings, in case you didn't know that, Dan.
We know, Al.
It'd be hard for you.
We hear
not
it every
to know
night
it from sitting next to me, but
of course. Here's a 1-0 pitch to Ludwig. Ripped into left, and the Cardinals lead it 1-0. Extra bases for Ludwig. He's on his way to second base. Stand-up double, and he picks up the RBI, number 88 on the year.
Tell you one thing, I would love to, if we could show the contrast between Ludwig running out of double and Uggla running out of double. Ryan Ludwig ran the right way. That's why he's standing second base right now. And Uggla went back to the dugout.
Brings in Pujols with the runner at second base. Scott Olson is 24 out of Kalamazoo, Michigan. Big guy, 6'5", 215-pounder. Pujols, chance to do some damage here.
I haven't heard about any meltdowns from Olson this year, but years past, you know.
Suspended at one point.
Sure. He had some issues. Got to get that under control.
Pujols is hitting an even 300 with runners in scoring position this year. Tony talked about the importance of this game, one of the most important of the season. He thought last night was big. This one's even bigger. And a lot of it has to do with what you talked about earlier, Al. Under Tony in this ballpark, it's not been an easy place to play. And coming off a tough Cubs series, too.
You know, really, every game has got to have.
Pujols out to left. Backing up Gonzalez. He got it off the end of the bat. And Ludwig will head to second. Take a look at the Devils. You requested to see Ludwig and Uggla. Here you go, Al.
Well, watch Ryan Ludwig run the bases now. Look at him churning and digging. No hesitation all the way. No wasted effort and a stand-up double. And wow, watch Uggla just kind of trotting down there. Even slows down at first base. Now he tries to turn it on and gets thrown out.
That was the difference. If he didn't slow down, he would have had a double.
You leave the batter's box thinking two.
Here's Gloss. He looks at a strike. Scott Olson, ankle injury, suffered in his last start, which was a loss to the Mets. 5 innings, gave up 5 runs, all earned, 9 hits. And overall, he has lost 4 in a row. He's just 1-3 since the All-Star break with an ERA that's close to 6. 0-1 pitch. 0-2. Asturias with a base hit to start this inning, and then he was picked off, and then an error as they tried to make the play at second base, and Asturias scores the first run of this game.
So if you have speed like Asturias, don't get in a rundown. Keep on running.
Gloss strikes out, number 3 on the night for Scott Olson. Amezaga, Olson, Ramirez coming up for the Marlins. Baseball tonight on FSN Midwest is presented in FSN High Definition, FSN HD. Al Raboski, Dan McLaughlin with you. Alfredo Amezaga, the center fielder, his second start for Freddie Gonzalez in a row in this series, leads it off.
Cody Ross is, remember, he was hit above the elbow and game 2 of the series, and he's still having problems throwing the ball.
Talked with Tony La Russa before the game about Chris Perez, and he is unavailable tonight. You know, I asked Perez, and you were standing there too, and he said, look, if they call on me, I'm ready to go. But Tony said after getting him up, sitting him down, and then coming in, and it was 33 pitches the total last night for Perez, he is not available to pitch unless it becomes just a situation where they have to use him.
At all costs, you're trying to avoid using Chris, and that's why Franklin, Izzy will get opportunities to close out games.
That tail's in there for a strike. Cardinals, 2 freshman fireballers, Kyle McClellan, Chris Perez, helped nail down both Monday night's win 4-2 and then last night's 6-4. Kyle McClellan, despite the problems, has posted, and that was just last night, the problems that he had, his league leading 30th hold And Perez picked up his 3rd major league save. 2 of the 3 for Perez have been 5-out saves. Here's a 3-2 pitch and a leadoff walk.
Was commenting about how he had to work last night and saying, like, I hope they aren't all where I have to come in the 8th inning. And he agreed with, you know, you get out of a tough jam like you did in the 8th inning, and then you sit down and relax, and you've got to, you know, try to regroup before you go out there again in the 9th. Both
Tony La Russa and Dave Duncan now feel that his slider has improved since he returned. You know, they feel the location's a little bit better, but definitely you know, sharper bite to it. And the fastball is a pitch that at this point he can really get away with because he gets it up there in the mid to high 90s. Much of the league hasn't seen him yet. That's a factor.
And Chris and I talked about the slider, and he said at the minor league level they all swung at it. And he said even if it wasn't even a really good one they swung at it. He said here they have a tendency to take the pitch or they can hit it.
Again, it's a conversation that we've had. The Cardinals have the rest of this month and next month to really find out about Chris Perez. And a lot of money is coming off the books next year. And this offseason, and how they want to spend it could be dictated by what Perez does. Wedemeyer gets Olsen, sacrificed the 7th of the year with a tall lefty. Amezaga is the tying run. He's at second base.
There's no doubt in my mind that you have a golden opportunity to not only still stay in contention and hopefully get to postseason play, with the opportunity to get a pretty good read on Chris Perez at the same time and not sacrificing anything or looking to next year. You can do both because he's highly competitive.
Top of the lineup, here's Hanley Ramirez, 0 for 1.
And in my mind right now, he's our best alternative for the 9th inning. And still, you know, the only way you're going to learn is to be pitching. It's the only place you get the, you know, the experience.
I asked Chris the other day about how he has been received in the bullpen, in which it's kind of a tough spot. You know, he's a rookie trying to feel his way to be the closer, and you got a guy out there, a veteran that's been through so many battles for the Cardinals and helped them in so many big wins, wanting to get to the milestone of 300 in Isringhausen. And he said those guys, Franklin and Izzy, have welcomed him, have helped him. Les Springer as well.
They've done it in the past, and they know somebody treated them that way. You know, it's a lot of guys have been helped. Other guys have been hindered. And so when it's your turn to pass on your knowledge, most guys remember all the guys that helped you and are more than willing to help the next generation.
1 ball, 1 strike, 1 out, runner at second. Just missing on the outside corner to Ramirez, who flied to right. First time up back in the first. Ramirez deposited an off-speed pitch from Kyle Lowe's the other night for his 26th home run, which proved to be a 3-run shot and the difference in the game. Big gap into right center. Where's that pitch? That's a good pitch right there.
Sure looked like it. And now you can see Ted Barrett is hearing it from Cardinal dugout as set up inside, and sure looks like it's at the knees
after not getting the pitch on the outside corner.
It's just sometimes, you know, they'll have a tendency to give you one corner or the other, but that pitch is at the knees and it's tough enough. You throw it right where you want it and you don't get a call.
2 walks in the inning. And Wedemeyer just looks back at the home plate umpire, shrugs his shoulders as if to say, all right, what's the strike zone? Went out, went in, went back out, and didn't get a call on either side.
And I wonder why guys get hit hard was when they say, well, you know where the T is?
Yeah.
That's where your strike zone is.
Here's Luis Gonzalez, key point in the ball game last night. 6th inning, bases loaded. He grounded into an inning-ending double play. And how about the job Braden Looper has done for the Cardinals in his last 3 starts for St. Louis? Gonzalez fouls that back for strike 1.
It's either 4 or 5 starts that Looper hasn't allowed more than 2 runs.
Looper's now 11-9 on the season with 7 innings, 1 earned run. Chris Perez picked up the save. Troy Gloss, of course, reached base 5 times, 4 hits. And Joe Mather's catch rescued the Cardinals.
Gonzalez, with his 588 doubles, is one of only 7 major league players ever with 350 home runs and 575 doubles. And you see Looper's last 3 outings. Pretty good numbers there, and finally he got rewarded with a victory last night, and it wasn't a sure thing until the final out.
1-1 pitch. Gonzalez hits it in the air to right center. Ludwig or Mather? It's Mather who makes the catch. And initially he hesitated, and it's a sky right now where I think it's very tough for these outfielders to pick up the baseball. Mather got up to a very slow start to try to catch this. You can hear him or watch him call for it. Cuts in front of Ludwig.
You got good ears, but Ludwig was also calling for it.
As I said again, I said watched him say it. But in this ballpark, you might be able to hear
You
him.
might be able to hear it in this park. That's right.
Beach ball has made its way onto the playing surface behind Ryan Ludwig.
There's my fastball.
We had a picture of a young man with a young Al Raboski earlier tonight that I saw. But this gentleman is now a grown man. Al, you were a little tough on this kid. How old was he when you took that picture with him?
Oh, shoot. Looks like he was, what, 8 or 9?
Maybe.
Now he's 70.
And you were choking him just like you were choking Brent Stover the other night. So some things never change over the years.
This time, my hands were wide apart in that picture. With Brent, they're very tightly,
Brent is gasping for air.
Lucky I didn't pull his Adam's apple out. That's a good trick I got.
1-0 pitch. In the dirt. 2 balls, no strikes on Cantu.
We were talking about, veteran guys helping people. Well, I had a guy when I was at Tulsa, AAA, lefty. One of my competition was trying to help me, teach me a changeup. And he was standing up as a left-handed batter. Accidentally, if you believe that or not, hit him in the head, gave him a double skull fracture.
With a changeup.
With a changeup.
And that was a gentleman trying to help you.
Yeah, Frank Pertania. Frank Pertania. He was late 30s at that time, trying to, impart some knowledge to me. Standing in my way.
Ooh, up and into Cantu, 3-0.
See if he can't come all the way back. Cantu has some power. He's got 20 home runs.
The 3-0 pitch. Will they turn him loose? He walked him. So that's 3 walks in the inning by Todd Wellemeyer, which over the last couple of seasons in the starter's role has been a cause of concern at times for Dave Duncan and Tony La Russa. The walks. Mike Jacobs with the bases loaded. This is a dangerous bat right now. By the way, Major League ballparks are being wired for instant replay. Bud Selig said today his confidence is growing that the technology to assist the umpires will be ready soon. He has visited the quote-unquote war room in New York. NHL has a similar setup in Toronto where they can review plays, but it looks like it's going to happen. And he's more open to it as opposed to when he just flatly said, I don't want to have instant replay in baseball. High fly ball into center. Mather is there to make the catch. Marlins have stranded 5. Molina, Lopez, Miles coming up. Top of the 4th rolls in here in Florida. 1-0 Cardinals. RBI double by Ludwig to pick up his 88th ribby of the season. Molina, a little chopper towards third. Handled by Cantu. This portion of Cardinal baseball on FSN is brought to you by your St. Louis area Kia retailers. Kia, the power to surprise. White Sox win 9-2 over Kansas City. 6th time in Major League Baseball history that a team has hit 4 straight homers. Tomey and Konerko, Ramirez and Wanyaribe all go back to back to back to back. Two balls and no strikes on Lopez, who tripled last night. He's in left field and he's flying to right tonight. 0 for 1. Felipe has given this club a little burst off the bench. And he hits it into right field. There's another base hit. One thing we saw with Lopez too at that triple is his speed last night. Cookie Rojas working on the radio side for the Florida Marlins.
He was a Cardinal for a brief period of time. And the Cardinals sent him to Kansas City and became a fan favorite over there, and eventually Frank White took over.
And time called by John Baker. 1-out base hit by Lopez. Aaron Miles bunted his way on his first time up. Padres had to come from behind to beat the Brewers today, and they win 3-2 at Petco Park. So if the Cardinals can win, they gain a game on Milwaukee.
And that was a good pitch matchup. Jake Peavy against Ben Sheets.
Sheets gave up a 2-run lead in that ball game late.
Chicago has a 5-2 lead over Atlanta in the 4th inning. Where's that pitch?
We're talking about Ugla being slow out of the box. How about Alfonso Soriano? Thought he had a home run against the Braves and stood and watched it. And then it wound up only being a single off the wall and should have been at least a double. As Miles lines it into the seats and out of play. 1 ball, 1 strike. And later that day, he had to apologize to his teammates and Lou Piniella.
And then next time up, young lefty-handed pitcher for the Braves.
I believe it was his debut too.
Yeah, it was his debut. Threw one right behind his head. Got ejected.
Gained some points on that though.
Yeah, well, yeah, I mean, but seriously, you know, you can send your message, but not at the head.
Agreed. But how many times now do you see pitchers protecting the hitters?
That's something that's going on ever since they started playing this game. But
here's a 1-1. And Soriano even talked about it after the game. He said, I would hope that my pitchers would protect me.
I think he basically kind of said, oh, we can play that game too. And I think he's making the point that we have some guys that throw a lot harder than yours.
2-1 the count on Miles. Scott Olsen finally comes set. Pitch to Aaron. Fly ball down the right field line into the Marlins bullpen and into the seats. 2-2. Brad Thompson has already flown to Cincinnati and he'll get the start tomorrow. Would have been Carpenter's start. So Thompson and Bronson Arroyo tomorrow night. And we'll come your way at 5 o'clock, and all 3 games this weekend will be on FSN Midwest. The 2-2 pitch to Miles. Jacobs can't get there, and neither can Hermida. NBC has the Olympic coverage, so we'll have baseball for you on Sunday.
Looking forward to that. Every game on this trip on FSN.
Where Olsen works slowly. We talked about it before, how your fielders behind you, all of a sudden they're back on their heels. Here's a 2-2 pitch. Instead of check on the runner at first. Let's see if Tony wants to start the runner. That's Lopez.
Aaron Miles has that ability to hit behind the runner. Good hit and run man. Lopez has good speed. So Miles doesn't strike out often.
We'll do it again. What will the Marlins do this offseason with all these players they have arbitration eligible? A lot of guys do for big bumps. Rotation is Sanchez, Johnson, Olsen, all 24. Velasco is 25. Volsted's 21. Andrew Miller, 23. So they're set there. As Miles lifts it in the air to right center. Amezega is there for the out. Not too late to get tickets for the Cardinals all-inclusive areas, and you can pay one price and get a great seat to the game, plus all of your food, beer, and soda in one package. Great seats are still available for August and September games. For details, visit STLCardinals.com. I know there's good seats available for the all-important series against the Milwaukee Brewers. Their final visit to St. Louis. It's on the 26th and 27th of this month. Sandwiched between a couple of off days. Schedule really lightens up at the end of the month for the Cardinals. Finish up this road trip. Off day Monday. Then 2 games against Pittsburgh. Off day on a Thursday. 3 against Atlanta. Another off day. 2 against Milwaukee. And then another off day. Wellemeyer struck out his first time up.
Bill Frost is celebrating his 65th birthday today. Happy birthday, Bill. Kim Rasp celebrating the birthday today.
The next to Wellemeyer. Just missing on the outside corner. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Second time that Todd Wellemeyer struck out tonight. 4 on the night for Scott Olsen. Best damn sports show period, the greatest nightly sports show on television. And tonight, Pro Bowler Drew Brees checks in, plus basketball star Josh Childress left the NBA for Europe. We'll find out why. Gary Payton and Kyle Turley guest host. It's the best damn sports show period tonight at 11, only on FSN. 3 walks back in the bottom of the 3rd for Todd Wellemeyer, but he pitched out of the jam with the bases loaded. The Cardinals holding a 1-0 lead. 6 hits for St. Louis, 1 for the Marlins. It's a crowded radio booth once again tonight. First pitch by Wellemeyer is taken for a ball. We saw Ugla hit one off the wall and then thrown out at second base, and a good play by Lopez. Who's in left field tonight. Rick Ankiel, the lefty on the mound. On the bench, Mather in center. Skip Schumacher gets the night off.
Wellemeyer keeps on hitting his pod down away and continually not getting the call.
And now they talk about trying to speed up the game. One way to do it, call the strike zone. The strike zone is tight.
That is the simplest way. And if you call it, call it a strike zone, which I think these pitches are close enough to be called a strike. Nobody in that radio booth agrees with it except for Jim Jackson. Look, he's protesting the game, turned his back on it.
2-2 pitch. Hitting that hit Ugla. Willemeyer's asking, did he make an attempt to get out of the way, but he's not going to win that call. St. Louis Cardinals would like to remind fans that Wednesday, August 20th is another Ice Mountain autograph night. 4 current players will be available for autograph signings from 6 until 6:30 for fans ages 20 and under. For more information, visit stlcardinals.com. So Willemeyer has hit 3. He's now hit a man. Here's Hermida lined out to short. That side of the strike zone has been called. The other side has not.
A lot of these umpires will look over the inside shoulder, and so the pitch that's out away from them, they kind of blocked a little bit, and they guess at it.
Here's a ground ball. How about a double play? 4-6-3 double play. It's one thing about this Cardinals team. Miles, Izturis, Gloss has been good at that. Albert Pujols has started a couple of double plays on this road trip, but the Cardinals are pretty fundamentally sound defensively. They have been that way, Al, all year long.
That wins ball games.
Sure does.
Not surprising. Cardinals with their good defense. Pitchers are instructed to pitch to contact, meaning let people hit the ball and let your defenders make the plays behind you.
Here's Baker. Pitch a little low. Houston wins again. They've won 16 of their last 20. John Baker is 0 for 1. They've won 8 straight overall. Willemyer over to first. And we played 4. Izturis, Mather, Ludwig coming up. Back in Florida, glad to have you with us here on FSN. Olsen finishing up his warm-up tosses. Todd Willemyer on the other side has walked 3. He's hit a man, but tonight he's pitched fairly well for the Cardinals. Not many base hits. A base hit in the first, base hit in the second, and that's been it. Light rain here at the ballpark. That's not surprising, is it?
Oh, no.
9th place hitter, Cesar Izturis. I've got something for you, Al. Why not have a rain out tonight and come back on Monday? Izturis, shallow right center, and the catch made. A Meza guy.
Well, Dan, I really don't like your idea.
I didn't think you would.
I don't think Luke does either.
No, he wouldn't at all. Considering he was in tears when I left.
Yes. And I just soon win this game.
I'm with you.
Regulation.
I just was throwing out
no
an
delay,
idea.
Rain delays.
Here's Joe Mather. He's 0 for 2. Mather is grounded out to third and lined out to center. The Astros, I believe, are now 7.5 games out in the wild card following their win. Again, Milwaukee lost today at San Diego. Diamondbacks win today. Here's a base hit for Mather. Let's go pitch by pitch here on Joe Mather. And as always, our pitch by pitch feature brought to you by Chevrolet.
Joe, a couple pinch hitting appearances here. Gets a strike on that outside, elusive one. A off speed down and away. Then a fastball leads up a little bit in the middle of the plate, and Mather hammers it.
What do you think we've learned about Joe Mather so far this year?
Well, I think that obviously he can play at this level, and he's a complete player. He runs the bases very well. And defensively, we've seen him make some outstanding plays. Gets good jumps, can play all 3 outfield positions. He's got big-time power. He's hit 24 home runs between AAA and the big leagues.
Have we seen him, though, shorten up his swing enough?
No. not yet, but it's a work in progress, and it's something that Ludwig told you that was something he worked on after last year. It was a suggestion, and Mather at first kind of said, well, I've done pretty well without doing so, but then you come up here and you see it's a little bit pitchers can execute their command a lot better and throw a lot. They can exploit your weaknesses, so he's now in agreement that it's something he has to do, and he's improved on it a little bit.
Good out of play by Ludwig. 2-1. Could see with Joe Mather, once he made contact, he was hustling all the way and thinking two maybe.
Well, that's what I'm saying. You leave the batter's box thinking two, and then you make the defense stop you after you take that wide turn. You want to go, but then there's times when the defense will stop you.
Ludwig with an RBI tonight, the only RBI in this game. Changeup that time. 2-2.
That's something that every game in this series, when you get about the 5th, 6th inning, all of a sudden, when they were throwing a lot of breaking balls, all of a sudden they start throwing changeups. They try to, the second half, they try to get by with trying to change their pattern.
Time called as Olson steps off the pitching rubber. Inning started with Isturis flying out. Base hit by Mather. And now a 2-2 pitch to Ryan Ludwig. Here it comes. Albert Pujols on deck. A lot of the pitchers you see, and Supine used to wear that type of clothing underneath the jersey, the tight-fitting sleeves. Not loose at all, and Olson's wearing that. Swing and a miss. Ludwig strikes out.
And it's something that, they never had those when I played. You had the old wool ones and some of this, and they would collect a lot of weight for the perspiration. But usually when you have something that's really tight on your pitching arm, it feels like you don't have anything on it. And yet it keeps it warm. Those microfibers now, they don't collect moisture.
Pujols takes a ball.
I think a lot of times the pitchers will think that it keeps the arm warm too, and offering protection.
Albert tonight 0 for 2. And a ground ball hit towards short. Ramirez flips to Ugla. They get Mather at second base. Albert 0 for 3. Midway through 5, 1-0 St. Louis. Wellemeyer back to work for the Cardinals as we move to the bottom of the 5th, and the Cardinals owning a 1-0 lead. They about hit Florida 6-2.
Hit Marlins 18-8 last night, winning 6-4.
Mezaga, the center fielder, walked his first time up, the inning in which Todd Wellemeyer walked 3 but stranded the bases loaded. The 0-1 pitch. Of course, here at FSM Midwest, we'll be bringing you Blues hockey again next year, and the folks at the Blues want to remind you that single game tickets, single game seats go on sale this Saturday at 10 a.m. 24 weekend games, and you can get those at Ticketmaster or at the Scottrade box office. But 10 a.m. the single game seats go on sale for the St. Louis Blues this weekend. And we'll have a full slate of Blues coverage here on FSN. 2-2. Hard to believe that's just around the corner.
Hard to believe. Saw something today that I could not believe.
2-2 is hit into shallow center. Joe Mather calls for it. And what was that?
Billy the Marlin is up for consideration for the mascot Hall of Fame.
I did not see that.
Oh yeah, and then they just had a little promotion and they were telling people to vote for him.
Is Fredbird in that?
That's what I'm getting really upset about. Where's my buddy Fredbird? He's not a member of this Mascot Hall of
After
Fame.
all your years with Fred Burdell.
I did not know there was a Mascot Hall of Fame.
And where is it?
I have no idea. And I'm sure I will never visit it, but I think Fredbird should be in it. That's your next assignment.
Mine?
Yes.
Jim Hayes is back in St. Louis. Put him on it. We're doing ball games here. We
Good
got Brent
point.
with us.
Good point.
We're heading to Cincinnati, so we don't have time right now.
Then Jim Hayes, I'm sure he'll have all the information on the postgame show.
Or Jack Clark will. 2 balls and 1 strike. And Scott Olson. Ricky would have, but he's with us here in Florida.
Can't wait for his next Shakespeare outing.
Speaking of mascots, it's taken there by Miles, and there's 2 away.
How come we've never seen a tape of it?
It's in the Hall of Fame. All right, top of the lineup. Here's Hanley Ramirez. But yeah, Blues hockey coming up. I'm going to send you to a couple games this year, Grabowski.
I've been to the Blues games. I enjoy it every time, but yes, I will go.
Maybe buy you a couple of single game tickets this weekend. Sit by yourself, and then we'll get you down ice level.
How about Bob Plager? How about buy me some tickets in San Jose?
So you and Lisa can go, your daughter?
Yeah, Lisa's a big Blues fan. She's living out in San Jose now.
Ramirez takes a ball. Now, where is that pitch right there? Is that low? I guess. Here's a 1-0 pitch.
Where he wanted it, I'll tell you that. Where's that pitch? You can see Wellmeyer's going the same thing. You got to be kidding me. I throw it at the knees where I want it. I throw it right on the outside corner where I want it. He's doing the right thing. Just, he's upset right now. And
he's not one.
Todd just took a little walk around.
And Wellemeyer's not
Nothing
one to get real upset. 2-0 pitch. That's a ball. 3-0. Ramirez has flied to right. He's also walked. Oh my goodness. And look at Wellemeyer.
Yeah, there's your make good. And now Wellemeyer's going. Now I'm totally confused.
Holy smokes.
Yeah, now watch this. Now he's going, okay, that's ball 4, and then the umpire calls a strike. He's going, and now he's going out there like, what are you talking about?
That's a ball. The pitcher is saying it's a ball.
I'm going, yeah, don't do that again, Todd.
And the pitch is popped up, foul territory. Molina is there, and he's got it near the Marlins dugout. Everybody's trying to figure out this strike zone. What's on Tap is brought to you by Bud Light. Bud Light keeps it coming. Cardinals and Reds. Skyline chili and all. Tomorrow at 5, the pregame show.
You can't honestly eat that, Ken.
Sure you can. We'll be at the Great American Ballpark in Cincinnati. Sixth inning rolls in. Remember the last time we had a discussion about Skyline chili. Let's leave it in the past. Troy Gloss has something in his glove. Hey, Troy, it's raining. Dig in.
Oh, Skyline chili.
How about Wellemeyer, after a strike call, looks in and shrugs his shoulders?
Puts his hands out like, what are you kidding me?
That's not a strike.
After he got the strike. Can you believe it? That was a strike. Watch this. Watch what he does after this pitch. fell his
What are you talking about?
It's called the make good.
Yes, sir. 1 ball, 1 strike on Gloss. He hits it to short. Ramirez, couple of hops, makes the play. We're in the 6th inning, and the Cardinals have hit the Marlins 6-2, but only a 1-run lead. It's a nice play by Molina on that pop-up.
Yes.
3rd and final out back in the 5th. Molina is 0 for 2. He's flied to left and grounded out to 3rd.
Came in 11th in the National League in batting. Hits in 15 of his last 16 starts.
A strike at the knees. Well, there's no doubt Dusty Baker has loaded up his pitching for the Cardinals this weekend in Cincinnati. We'll see 3 pretty good ones.
See, we're there 20.5 games out.
I did see that. Ramirez, long throw. Makes the play.
Know who's running. Take your time. Out on the outfield grass. Pushes himself back up, upright, and still goes out Molina without him being in your picture.
I don't know if he needed to dive, a little hesitation, and then all of a sudden he had to make the play diving.
Yeah. Looked kind of weird.
So 2 outs, and here's Lopez, who's 1 for 2. Center field, 2 for 3. Brings in Miles, who picked up a bunt hit back in the 2nd. He's also flied to center. Visit the official online shop of the Cardinals at stlcardinals.com and browse the largest selection of authentic team gear, which includes caps, t-shirts, jerseys, and more. Get it straight from the source at stlcardinals.com. 2 outs and a runner at first for Miles. Olsen will check on Lopez.
He did this last time. Got it, all of his fielders back on his heels. There's a 1 out when Lopez got the base hit. Miles was at the plate.
I'll be curious to hear how the fans have received the deals by Walt Jocketty. And last time we were there, that's pulled foul. We were curious, one, about Griffey. You know, would they resign or pick up the option or trade him? And Dunn, a potential free agent, would they trade him or try to sign him? And Walt Jocketty looks like he's going with a complete overhaul right now and starting from scratch. But you have Griffey, the hometown kid, 600+ home runs. Dunn was a favorite for some fans,
sure,
because of all the power that he had.
I saw where there's some speculation. Micah Owens could be
part of the deal.
Could be one of the pitchers. But remember, we kind of interpreted the deal because they were saying there was a couple players that would go over at the end of the season. We said, well, it could be either somebody that is on their current roster or somebody they want for the stretch run.
And that was in the Dunn deal with Arizona. 0-1 pitch. Miles fights it off down the right field line. It slices out of play. They've got Jay Bruce, who obviously is a fan favorite already. Volquez, will see him on Sunday.
Homer Bailey is one of the top pitching prospects. He's been sent back down. He's winless.
Doesn't make much sense to see Harang at 3-12.
No. Part this year, Adam Harang was the upper tier of National League pitching. And Bronson Arroyo has pitched very well of late.
Think Walt would ever deal with the Cardinals?
I would think so. But I think he would be thinking he's dealing from a great deal of knowledge of the organization.
1-2 the count. Big gap in left center for Miles. Shoots that one fair. Over the bag. And into the corner and right. Miles picks up the double. And another opportunity with runners on for Todd Wellemeyer. After getting the first two to ground out to short, back-to-back base hits, a single, and this double by Miles.
And Jacobs a little slow moving there. It's to his glove hand, gets by him. Had a nice little hop, but just couldn't reach out and get it. You know, Kendall very, very aggressive, but with Wellemeyer coming up, you almost wonder if you'd have to believe that he just had no chance of scoring the man.
And I wonder if Miles at all got tangled up with Jacobs. Jacobs was basically lying on the bag at first base. Winds up at second base.
So Lopez there with good speed. He's out at third. Miles there.
Just got out of the way.
Yep, got out of the way.
So the pitcher batting eighth, and here we go again. This has been one of those cases where tonight it has not paid off having the pitcher eighth. Came up with runners at first and third back in the second. Runner at first his second time up.
Both Lopez and Miles are 2 for 3. Hitting in front of Todd Wellemeyer.
One ball, one strike on Wellemeyer. In the glove, and he swung and missed.
A little tardy.
A little late.
Olson's pitch count at 84. Todd's pitch count at 72.
One-two pitch to Todd Wellemeyer.
And tough. He's trying to get catcher's interference.
Marlins will have Gonzalez, Cantu, and Jacobs coming up. A 1-2. Wellemeyer again got a piece.
Not showing confidence in Wellemeyer's hitting ability by giving who's coming up for them.
Oh, don't read into it, Al. Do not read into it. All the faith in the world.
Watch base hit on this pitch.
A 1-2 pitch. Outside, 2-2. Wellemeyer wisely, I was watching him, didn't say anything to the home plate umpire. At least I didn't see it.
No. Or gestures.
The 2-2 pitch. 2 runners on. 2 outs. Here he comes. Pulls it foul.
Good at bat. The more pitches you see, the better chance of getting a mistake pitch, something you might be able to handle, do something with it.
Runners at second and third. Another pitch to Todd Wellemeyer in this 1-0 game. Good at bat. 3-2. As Turris, who's been swinging a hot bat, is on deck. He wouldn't walk him here, would he?
He could.
He has struck out 5. He's yet to walk a man. The 3-2. He has struck out 6. Baker held on. Freddie Gonzalez will send 2, 3, and 4 up to face Wellemeyer next. It's 1-0 St. Louis. Cardinals about to hit the Marlins 8-2. Let's take a look at our Fruit of the Loom feel for the game. Yadier Molina shows a feel for the game, and it's brought to you by Fruit of the Loom.
Comes over near the Marlins dugout. Ball's in that foul pop. That's a feel for the game if I've ever seen one.
Oh, yeah. Here's Luis Gonzalez. Gonzalez, Cantu, and Jacobs. We play here in the bottom of the 6th. Luis is grounded out to first. He's flied to center. 0 for 2. First pitch, a strike on the outside corner.
So elite company for Luis Gonzalez. Almost with a 588 doubles, 353 home runs. Becomes one of only 7 major league players to do that. Stan Musial, Carl Yastrzemski, Hank Aaron, Cal Ripken Jr., Barry Bonds, and Rafael Palmeiro.
Is this it for Gonzo? There's so many fine years in the National League with Arizona. Last year with the Dodgers, first year with the Marlins.
I would think that keeps in good shape and everything, that he'll probably try and catch on again.
He's 40 years old. 7 home runs on the year. The 1-2. Gonzalez, a broken bat, hit up the middle. Miles gloves and throws to first. Got him. What a play. Wow. Remarkable play from Aaron Miles.
Remarkable play, but I think we're going to have another argument. Dan DeMute, the crew chief, made the call there at first base, and Freddie Gonzalez didn't like it. Andy Fox, first base coach, didn't like it, and neither did Gonzalez. Off balance throw, gets whatever he can, and a bang bang play there. Much closer than what it looked like to the naked eye.
What a play.
Hard to tell from that angle when it went into the glove and when he stepped on the bag.
Safe.
That's the way I thought I saw it to begin with.
Wellemeyer will take it. Here's Jorge Cantu on base twice. Single and a walk, and that pitch misses outside. He has not gotten that call all night long. Where's the umpire setting up?
Inside shoulder.
Yep. 1-0 pitch. 1 ball, 1 strike. Another look at that play at first base. Well, I don't know anymore, Al. I'm confused.
And these umpires have to make a split-second decision.
A liner and his Turris is there, 2 away. So 2 up, 2 down. Here's Jacobs. Well, it could be at least at the start of this inning, a dangerous inning with 2, 3, and 4 coming up. He's got the first 2.
He's got a chance to do it in pretty quick fashion.
Cardinals are second to Houston for the major league lead in fielding percentage. 7 errors the Cardinals have committed in their past 4 games. Fielding percentage .987. A strike at the knees. Jacobs twice his flied out to center. Cardinals have Isturis, Mather, Ludwig coming up. Broken bat. Pujols will backhand. He'll lead Wellemeyer to the bag. Marlins go down 1-2-3. 1-0 St. Louis as we move to the 7th. Cardinal Baseball on FSN Midwest. Brought to you by Rico. Move your ideas forward with Rico Dependability. By your local St. Louis Jeep dealers. And by Bank of America, the official bank of the St. Louis Cardinals. South Beach here in Florida. And the pitch by Olsen as we start playing the 7th is taken for a ball by Cesar Isturis. He's 1 for 2 on the night. He has scored the only run in our ball game. He singled to lead off the third and scored on the double by Ryan Ludwig. It's also our Hyundai long drive inning. Stephen Cooper is tonight's merchandise winner in the Hyundai long drive inning sweepstakes. And if you don't know by now, I will still tell you. The Cardinals hit a home run. Stephen Cooper qualifies for the Sonata drawing in September. You can still register. This is a St. Louis area Hyundai dealer. Base hit by Isturis. He's 2 for 3.
Isturis just swinging a nice little bat here.
Number 62.
Up a little bit, just hit sharply to the left side and through. Lupe Lopez 2 for 3. Miles 2 for 3. Wallmeyer 3 straight strikeouts, and now it's Turris. So the bottom of the order, the position players are all 2 for 3.
Mather in the leadoff spot. First pitch to him. A check swing, and he did not go. Ryan Ludwig on deck. If anybody can reach them, we'll see Pujols. Olsen is set. The Cardinals with 9 base hits, but only 1 run. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Well, it hasn't worked with the pitcher batting the 8th spot up to this point. But now we see we've got an extra position players already on base. And now we got the top of the order all for Albert.
Let's hope it works tonight in this spot here in the 7th. The idea, again, is to have Pujols bat third, hit in the first inning, and then have that secondary leadoff man in the 9th position. So then Pujols ideally would be like a cleanup man.
Every point afterwards.
Pitch is popped up into shallow right. Who wants it? It'll be the right fielder. Bonita takes it. Cardinals head to Cincinnati for a 3-game series against the Reds. The entire series is right here on FSN Midwest. Tune in Friday and Saturday at 5, and then Sunday 11 a.m. The Cardinals and the Reds on FSN Midwest. Here's Ludwig with 1 out. Rain is starting to fall again. Light drizzle here at the ballpark. Ludwig 1 for 3 with an RBI double. Right-hander getting loose in the pen for the Marlins. They carry 3 lefties, 5 righties in their pen.
Kinsing.
And the first pitch to Ludwig is taken for a ball.
Hogan Kinsing is the right-hander warming up.
Ludwig now with 88 RBIs on the year. The top 10 in that department. Hitting above 300 and 1 home run shy of 30. The 1-0 pitch. Instead of check on the runner at first. Remember, they tried to pick off Isturis, and they had him picked off. Then they threw the ball into left field. The play by Mike Jacobs there at first base, and Isturis came around to score following the error. Big play in this game. Ludwig hits it out to deep left field. At the track, at the wall. Number 30 is out of here. Ludwig, a 2-run shot, and the Cardinals lead it 3-0. And he has all the RBIs here tonight.
And up to 90 with the RBI total. As you said, his 30th home run, 17th on the road. And Ludwig just gave a big lift to Wallmeyer and teammates.
What an amazing year he has had.
He is. And he, as we said, he has not changed one bit since the day he got promoted from early May last year. Worked so hard to get himself back. And the ball down, and he put a rifle shot into it.
Hardy's prime cut of the game.
And we also have a winner, Hyundai.
You always remind me about it. Thank you, Al. Stephen Cooper, congratulations. Thanks to number 30 from Ryan Ludwig. You have a chance to win that Hyundai coming up in September. Pitch that's in there and a strike to Albert Pujols. We need to start taking a look at the numbers for Ludwig as we near the final month of the season and where he stands as far as the MVP compared to some of the other players in the National League. Chipper Jones is leading the league in batting average at the start of play at .370 today. There's a chopper hit to third. Bobbled, and Pujols is out. Albert 0 for 4. But Ryan Ludwig, with a couple of base hits tonight, is roughly around 303 or 304, which would put him in the top 10 in hitting. His home runs, he's now tied with Ryan Braun for third best in the National League. The RBIs, as Al told you, and Ludwig is hitting 304. He's tied with Schumacher. And the RBIs now at 90 for Ludwig, which puts him at fourth best in the league. I mean, depending on what happens with the Cardinals this year, he will get a little consideration for MVP.
Absolutely.
And he's had that good of a year. 3-0, and it's time to stretch. Sports Ultimate Nightly Highlight Show is here. The final score, and tonight it's the Phillies and Dodgers. Their highlights coming up. Also, Byron Leftwich makes his Steelers debut against the Bills. The only national show that gives you nothing but wall-to-wall highlights. The final score tonight at 10:30 on FSN. Here's Dan Uggla on base twice. 3-0 St. Louis. That pitch has been a ball all night. Close on that outside corner. Ryan Ludwig with his 30th home run. 3 RBIs now with 90 on the year. He's got 6 in the series. The 1-0 pitch. Chase the ball. 1 ball, 1 strike. Uggla, Hermida, and Baker. Fastball and a strike. One-two. Foul back. Yes, Al.
Nothing to add.
Nothing to add right now.
Nothing to add right now.
Count of 1 ball and 2 strikes. And he got him on the slider. Not many strikeouts tonight for Todd Wellemeyer. As a matter of fact, that's number 1.
Number 1, but he's retired the last 9 in a row. And gets him on that slider. Couldn't hold up. 123 strikeouts now for Uggla.
Over 1,000 for this team collectively. There's a swing and a miss on the changeup to Hermida. He's grounded into a 4-6-3 double play. He's also lined out to short, 0 for 2.
With their 2 hits tonight, they're at 1,050 hits. And they have 1,043 strikeouts.
I don't think there's any doubt it's human nature going against a team that gave up on you. Extra incentive. And that's what Wellemeyer's got tonight.
But sometimes, you know, with that extra incentive, you can't channel your emotions, and you know, you kind of let the game slip away. He looks like he's doing it the right way.
Here's a 1-2 pitch. Wellemeyer to Hermida. Popped up. Shortstop is Turris there for the second out.
Just at 90 pitches.
Well, now is your chance to register for Fan Frenzy at Busch Stadium. Register to win a 2-minute race through the official Cardinals team store with the opportunity to grab all the Redbird gear you can carry. For more information, stop by the team store at Busch Stadium, which is open, by the way, 7 days a week. Last base runner was back in the 4th inning for the Marlins. That was when he hit Dan Uggla on a check swing. Last base hit was also Dan Uggla in the 2nd inning when he tried to stretch a single into a double and was thrown out by Felipe Lopez. The slider this inning has been sharp for Wellemeyer.
Well, you know, many times you can't give up on a pitch because as you wear down, then you're able to get on top of it and really have the good command of that slider.
Nothing in 2 the count. Baker is grounded out to short, grounded back to Wellemeyer. The 0-2. Taken for a ball. 1-2.
Johnny wanted that ball up to see if he'd get him to chase it.
Sets up way inside. Gets it outside. 2-2. This is such a big series for both these teams, and the Cardinals here on the road a chance to make it 3 of 4 against the Marlins. 2-2. Don't lose him here. 3-2. Wellemeyer has walked 3, and it came all in 1 inning. Back in the 3rd, and then he stranded the bases loaded.
How to hit your way on.
Three-two pitch on the outside corner. Strikeout number 2 on the night for Todd Wellemeyer. 2 in the inning, 2 in the game, and we played 7. Cardinals lead at 3-0. Geico quote here in the 8th inning from the former Cardinal, now current first base coach of the Tigers, Andy Van Slyke. Every season has its peaks and valleys. There's more to that quote I'd love to tell you. Just don't go to that Grand Canyon. That's what he was talking about, Al.
Oh,
it's up and down.
Oh, yeah, it's up and down.
Just don't get buried.
You're trying to have your peaks. You want your peaks a lot higher than your valleys. Logan Kenzing appearing for the 35th time.
So Chevrolet called to the bullpen. It's spelled, and you think it's Kensing. It's not. It's Kenzing.
Zing. 6'1", 185 out of San Antonio, Texas.
Olsen 106 pitches tonight. Gave up 10 hits, 3 runs, all those earned. Didn't walk a man. He struck out 6 in his 7 innings of work. Here's Molina. First pitch fouled back. Yadier tonight is fly to left, grounded out to 3rd, and grounded out to short.
Cardinals add to their major league leading team road batting average tonight. Came in at 283. And when they get 10 or more hits, unbelievable record of 57-13.
That's it out of play. Nothing in 2 the count on Molina. Lopez on deck, and then Miles. Final visit to Dolphin Stadium tonight for this 2008 campaign. Ramirez can take his time. Long throw and gets Molina by a step. This copyrighted telecast is presented by the authority of the St. Louis Cardinals and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the St. Louis Cardinals.
Cody Ross is now playing right field, part of a double switch when Ken Zing came into this game.
It's twice now that Ramirez has had to range deep into the hole, and there's Ross and get Molina. Lopez a 2-hit night. He's 2 for 3. Now 2 for 4. Al's favorite promo, here it is. Indulge yourself at the grand opening of the very first Massage Luxe located in Rock Hill. You can join Al Raboski and also Cardinals All-Star Ryan Ludwig, who just hit his 30th home run. You can do that at 6 p.m. August 21st. It's the debut of this St. Louis franchise. For more information, number to call 961-LUX or visit massagelux.com.
Yeah. Food, drink, Cardinal tickets, that grand opening. Ryan and I are both looking forward to it.
Will you be in a robe?
No, I'm going to be in clothes. I'll probably go there earlier, have a massage like my wife and I did last week. Very impressed with beautiful new surroundings, setting, very serene. And all kinds of great things. Oh.
August 21st.
You have the separate rooms, and you can have his and her room.
Here's a ground ball that's handled by Jacobs. Cardinals go in order. Midway through 8, 3-0 St. Louis. Let's take a look at the Cardinals game recap. And our game recap, as always, brought to you by Jack in the Box. 3-0 Cardinals. Outfield defense early on for St. Louis. Story of this game, though, Todd Wellemeyer, his pitching. The dancing in the stands. And the game from Ludwig. 3 RBIs on the night and his 30th home run. Wellemeyer has not allowed a base hit since all the way back in the 2nd inning.
And here pitching in the 8th.
Mezaga looks at a strike at the knees.
Schumacher out in center field. Mather moves to left. For Felipe Lopez out of the game.
Backhanded by Albert. Wellemeyer beats Mezaga to the bag. By a step or so.
Race to the bag, and Wellemeyer wins that one. Wellemeyer now will face the new right fielder, Cody Ross, who went in part of the double switch last inning.
Cardinals would love to go into Cincinnati with a complete game again. You've got a situation where Perez, according to Tony La Russa, unavailable to close tonight, so you could go with Izzy or Franklin like you talked about, but maybe the better option is seeing this guy go 9.
He's never done it in his major league career.
Quickly 2 strikes on Ross.
And only twice in his minor league career. And he made 97 starts in the minor leagues with only 2 complete games. 1 shutout. Excuse me. 2 complete games, both of them were shutouts in the minor leagues.
0-2 pitch. A little bit high.
Pitch count just at 102.
I know, though, with that pitch count, when we talk about Wellemeyer, you don't really worry about it with him. Big, strong guy out there on the mound.
No, not at all. Anytime you got a guy like him, that, you know, when more so the case when you have a strikeout pitcher, he's going to throw more pitches because of his ability to strike out. And I don't put Wellemeyer in that category as a big strikeout guy. But you got those big, broad shoulders.
2-2 pitch to Ross. Here it is. He got him. Swung on and missed for the 3rd strikeout tonight for Todd Wellemeyer.
And those 3 strikeouts have come in the last 5 batters. So getting stronger. You see the movement. Got a little giddy up on it. A little movement.
No activity in the Cardinals bullpen. No reason to have anybody up. Hanley Ramirez.
Retired 13 in a row. Ramirez hitless. He did walk once. the only blemish, 3 walks and a hit batter by Wellemeyer tonight.
And a pitch that's taken low and outside.
Todd's still going to try to get a strike out there down the way, wouldn't he?
Keeps pounding that part of the strike zone, doesn't get the call. The 2-0 pitch fouled back, and it was with Ramirez at the plate, which Wellemeyer got a strike and then shrugged his shoulders as if to say, you got to be kidding me. It's been a ball all night. And then he got him to pop out to Molina.
Springer throwing now in the Cardinal bullpen.
The 2-1 pitch. One thing to keep in mind, Al, is that with the off days coming up, as Tony La Russa and Dave Duncan indicated to me, you can buy some extra rest for some of these guys depending on how you want to set it up.
Absolutely.
So if you wanted to let Wellemeyer go a little longer in this game, knowing that he might be one of those guys, why not?
Sure. I mean, you could go to a 4-man rotation. You could go, you could stay in your 5 and have everybody have extra rest. Do a lot of different things and just kind of see how things are situated.
The count is full on Hanley Ramirez, who is homered in this series. A 3-2 pitch. Doesn't get the call. Hasn't been there all night. Nope. 4th walk by Wellemeyer.
3 of the 4 balls were all pretty close in that one area that he's not gotten a call tonight. Dave Duncan will come out and talk to him a little bit. Could possibly be his last man this inning. He loses Gonzalez. They're going to come get him to see how he feels. Be honest. Tell me how you feel. It's a solid game tonight. You just want to make sure it stays in that category. Remember I said last night that Tini was telling me that study of when you have a 3-0 lead, doesn't matter whether it's first inning or in the 9th inning, team wins 92% of the games. Make sure it's one of those 92 percenters.
2 outs, runner at first. Wellemeyer's coming off a start 6 2/3 against Chicago in that 12-3 win on Saturday. The chance at another win tonight. First pitch is strike 2, Luis Gonzalez. Gonzalez 0 for 3, quiet in this series. He's grounded out to first, flied out to center with 2 runners on in the 3rd, and grounded out to second back in the 6th. Here's the 0-1. Little floater, shallow left, drops in for a hit. We've seen Gonzalez with a floater over the shortstop. A memorable game. Game 7 of the World Series to win it.
No jam shot, but just muscles it out there. Mather tried to deke Ramirez, thinking he was going to catch it, but.
Well, here you are, Al. You've got 2 outs, tying run now at the plate. Has Wellemeyer done enough to where you say, all right, it's time for Russ Springer? Yep, that's going to be it.
Yeah, and Russ is your man for coming into an inning and getting out of a jam. Great performance.
Tying run at the plate with 2 outs in the 8th when we come back. 52nd appearance on the year coming up here for Russ Springer in our Chevrolet call to the bullpen. Springer, the 39-year-old, pitched Tuesday night here in Florida, 2/3 of an inning, 1 strikeout, and he did not give up a hit in that appearance. Very reliable and a guy that, for the most part, you can count on in this spot.
29 of 36 inherited base runners have scored. This Marlins ball club is tied for 2nd for the most come-from-behind wins in the National League, so we respect him, but Springer been in these situations a long time. He's the most reliable guy to come in and get the final out of an inning.
Runners at first and second with 2 outs. Tying run at the plate. Jorge Cantu with 20 home runs this year. First pitch by Springer, taken for a ball.
They only have one man, and that's Cantu. As Falone is warming up with the lefty Jacobs on deck.
The 1-0 pitch on the outside corner. Wellemeyer didn't get that pitch all night. 1-1.
Springer going, what are you talking about?
To strike.
His was up a little bit more. As Wellemeyer was really where he wanted it, down and away.
Gloss is guarding the lines. He's just a couple of steps away. Popped up, out of play, behind home plate.
Outfielder's extremely deep, particularly Schumacher in center field.
Boy, is he deep.
Really deep with Schumacher. Don't want anything over your head that doesn't leave the ballpark.
1-2 the count with 2 outs. Runners at first and second. Cardinals trying to hold on. It's 3-0 here in the 8th. Haven't mentioned the name of Brian Barton. He is with us here in Florida. Tony La Russa wanted to work him out with the major league coaches. He had played 20 days in a row in the minor leagues. He'll be with us in Cincinnati, and at some point, Tony was telling me they will activate him for little action this weekend against the Reds.
To me, it's just obvious that trying to wait until Saturday at the earliest, get through this series, and then get into the weekend with all the off days, then you could more than likely would send one of your pitchers out, go back to a 12-man, and have your extra bench player. Here's a 2-2 pitch to Cantu. Got him. Strikeout for Springer. Sends us to the 9th. 3-0 Cardinals. Some of the fans beginning to leave here at Dolphin Stadium. Baseball tonight brought to you by Smooth Bush Beer and Easy Drinking Bush Light. And by Chevrolet. See for yourself. Shop and compare at STLChevy.com. Rick Ankiel, the pinch hitter for the Cardinals here in the 9th inning. A crowd of 15,609 tonight. Todd Wellemeyer, 112 pitches, 7 2/3, 3 hits, no runs, walked 4, struck out 3. Another check swing and a strike on Rick Ankiel. Here's an 0-2. Ankiel swings and misses. Let's check in with Brent Stover. Brent.
Yeah, Dan, a lot of fun as Skip Schumacher came off the field after that last inning, and you and Al alluded to it. He was really deep out there in center field. He came off Jose Oquendo, Adam Kennedy, Albert Pujols all over him. He said to Jose, you said no doubles, defending himself, but Adam mentioned to Skip, the game's over here. We're playing on this field. And then Albert Pujols, of course, showing that he needed a pair of binoculars to see Skip out there. Good stuff.
Well, we're still 3 outs away. 3-run lead for the Cardinals, but good to see him having some fun, some smiles down there in that dugout after a real rough start to the road trip when the Cardinals, and you take a look at the Chicago series, probably should have won the first game. They win the second game, and if a couple of errors aren't made behind Carpenter, who knows what happens in game 3.
Or if Carpenter doesn't come out of that game with injury. Looks like Falone will start the 9th inning. He will have the first baseman, Jacobs, the left-hand hitter, and then Franklin will come in.
Popped up by Isturis on the left side. Taken by Cantu for out number 2. Well, first 2 retired. Second inning of work for Kensing. And it brings in the Cardinal leadoff man. That's Joe Mather. Joe Mather 1 for 4. A strike at the knees to Mather. Joe is grounded out to third. He's lined out, singled in the fifth, and flied out to right. Marlins will have Jacobs, Ugla, Hermida coming up. 0-1 pitch.
Kinsling just turned 26 last month. Came up last year, was 3-0 with a 1.35 ERA in 9 games for Florida. Been up the last 4 years before this season. Selected in by the Marlins the second round of the 2003 first-year player draft. Out of San Antonio, Texas. As pitcher Mather's facing.
Mather lifts it in the air, a breaking ball into shallow left center, and the catch is made. Amazigo there. Sends us to the bottom of the ninth. Malone will start the inning when we come back. It's 3-0 St. Louis.
U.S. Cellular Cardinals Live coming up after the game. It's Pat Paris and Jack Clark. They will talk Chris Carpenter. Also, of course, we'll hear Tony La Russa's post-game comments inside the clubhouse. They're going to break down Todd Wellemeyer's outstanding start and Tony La Russa's proclivity for using different lineups. U.S. Cellular Cardinals Live.
Is what?
Proclivity.
Proclivity. That's a word from Max Leinwand, our venerable producer of the postgame show. I don't know what it means.
Ron Malone, his 51st appearance. 1-2 is his record, a 5.26 ERA, nearly 40 innings this year for Tony La Russa.
Probably only asked to get this one man. Ryan Franklin warming up behind him.
But the job of Wellemeyer tonight. Again, if you're just joining us, 7 2/3, 3 hits, no runs, 112 pitches, walked 4, struck out 3. First pitch to Jacobs in the dirt. Springer got the final out in the 8th as he struck out Jorge Cantu as Cantu represented the winning or the game tying run. The ninth innings have been a problem, obviously. Late ball games have been a problem for the Cardinals bullpen this year.
That's what I was going to say. You know, everybody looks at the problems with the bullpen, and it's not quite that way. I mean, they lead the major leagues with 88 holds. Hopefully Valone can get another one here tonight. But it's been really the 9th inning. So it's been that closer situation which has led to so many of the blown saves and tough Cardinal losses. But this team has been so resilient. It's bounced back from all of them, but wouldn't it be nice to have a 1-2-3 ninth?
2-1. Jacobs tonight twice has flied to center. He's also grounded out to first. Malone a pickup at the end of spring, and the 38-year-old has provided some protection down there from the left side of the bullpen. Working now with Jaime Garcia, Randy Flores in the minor leagues. The 2-1. Popped up right side. Pujols near the line. Fair territory, makes the catch. All important first out. Tony will go to his bullpen.
And in Franklin for the final 2. Nice job by Ron Valone.
So here comes a closer at one point this year trying to finish this game. It's Ryan Franklin. Here is Ryan Franklin, 3-0 St. Louis in the bottom of the 9th. First pitch, a strike at the knees to Dan Ugla.
Bess Helms has onto the on-deck circle. Franklin, second most appearances on the staff to McClellan's.
0-1 pitch. I've seen Franklin using his knuckleball. He has a splitter, a slider, a curveball, a changeup, and a fastball. So take your pick.
And 2 different fastballs. And I always talk about him having 6 or 7 pitches, and now he's proven it with that knuckle.
Here's an 0-2.
He was very good on Tuesday night when Franklin came in 2 innings, only allowed 1 hit and a strikeout against the Fish.
Ugla is 1 for 6 against Franklin. And a strikeout. You could go with a lot of different guys in this ball game tonight for your Budweiser Great Player of the Game. We'll give it to tonight's starter for the Cardinals, Budweiser, the Great American Lager. And the night for Todd Wellemeyer, again 7 2/3, 3 hits. He walked 4, 3 strikeouts, hit a man, 112 pitches, and he was just fantastic tonight for the Cardinals.
And really what they needed with sort of a semi-bullpen start tomorrow night in Cincinnati. Needed your starter to go deep, and Wellemeyer was the man.
And at one point, Allie had set down 11 straight.
Remember, of the 4 walks, and he did hit a batter, 3 of them came in 1 inning.
Manny Ramirez did get a haircut. He said it's about 1 inch taken off. That's it.
They cleaned it up.
Cleaned it up. Here's a 1-1. Pulled foul. 1-2.
Nice play by the ball boy.
So this is it. It's the Marlins down to the final strike right here with 2 outs, bottom of the 9th, and a count of 1 ball and 2 strikes. What does Franklin want here on Wes Helms?
Slider. It's been good tonight.
Didn't get in the chase.
Didn't want the sinker, didn't want the slider, wants fastball away.
2-2. Grounded up the middle. Marlins still alive.
Nobody up the middle. Miles had the best shot at it, but he was the second baseman and just well placed.
John Baker 0 for 3 tonight. Grounded to short, grounded back to the pitcher and struck out. Breaking ball misses up and in.
4 for 9 in the series before tonight. See him playing out on the outfield grass. The infield here, that runner at base. Helms could just walk down to second base. Why clubs don't do that, you wonder why.
1-1 pitch. And the ball gets away from Molina. Wild pitch charged to Franklin. 2 balls, 1 strike to count. If the Cardinals can hold on, they pull to within 3 of Milwaukee, the wild card race.
Chicago, it is now 11-7. Atlanta just picked up 3 runs in the 7th inning, but still a pretty good lead with that good bullpen in the 7th inning.
2-1. And a ground ball hit to second. This should do it. The Cardinals take 3 of 4 here in Florida. The Cardinals win it by the score of 3-0. Tony La Russa talked about the importance of this game, how important it was for this team to win it and take 3 of 4. They have done it, and now it's off to Cincinnati. Wellemeyer gets the win. The Cardinals pick up win number 68 on the year. U.S. Cellular Cardinals Live coming up.
Well, the game is over with a shutout victory for the Cardinals. Jack, your thoughts on this one?
Too much Todd Wellemeyer, and Ryan Ludwig took care of the offensive part, and great job by Todd Wellemeyer. He was just outstanding tonight, gave them just what they needed. Tony's got to be real happy going into Cincinnati with the bullpen rested and all of his fellas ready to go.
Yeah, the rotation is really going well right now. More on that coming up. Plus, with the Brewers losing today, the Cardinals were looking to gain some ground in the wild card, and they do with the Tedalian running all over the fish. Plus, Ryan Ludwig batting second tonight. More than 100 different alignments used this season by the Cardinals. Just where should Ludwig fit in the Redbirds batting order? We'll take you inside the Cardinal clubhouse in Florida for post-game reaction, including Tony La Russa's thoughts, plus the latest on Chris Carpenter and Adam Wainwright. Happy birthday, Steve Martin. Jack Clark and I are two wild and crazy guys. Cardinals Live is next.
Welcome to U.S. Cellular Cardinals Live.
Hello, everybody. Welcome inside our FSN Midwest studio in St. Louis. It's the post-game edition of U.S. Cellular Cardinals Live, along with the former Cardinals slugger Jack Clark. I'm Pat Paris. Coming up, we're going to break down Todd Wellemeyer's shutout start. He goes 7 2/3. We'll take you back to Florida as well for player reaction and Tony La Russa's post-game comments. Plus, Cardinals general manager John Mozeliak updates us on Chris Carpenter and Adam Wainwright. Also remember, it is U.S. Cellular text time. You can get involved in the program as well. Give us a Cardinals comment or question via the text message, 37289, the number. Remember to include your first name, where you're texting from in that message. Standard text messaging rates do apply. First things first, it's back down to Miami. Brent Stover standing by with Ryan Ludwig, who provided all 3 RBIs tonight. He's our Mid-America Chevrolet Dealers Player of the Game. Brent?
Pat, thanks. And Ryan, you and I just the other day were talking about the importance of just getting series victories from here on out. How does 3 of 4 sound here in Florida?
Oh, it sounds great, you know, especially after that 3-game set in Chicago where we were in games and it could have gone either way. You know, to come back against this Marlin team, which is a good team, you know, they're fighting for their own division, and get 3 out of 4, it's really big.
Todd Wellemeyer gave you guys a great effort tonight.
Wow. Unbelievable. Outstanding job, you know, just as far as I'm concerned, he's the player of the game in my opinion, and it's just a phenomenal job. There's nothing more to say.
You weren't bad either. A double, a home run, all 3 RBIs. Take us through that at-bat in the 7th inning when you hit it out of the park.
You know, I was having a really hard time this series. I got a lot of pitches I felt like that were in the middle of the plate, and I was getting a little loopy, you know, fouling a lot of balls off, swinging through a lot of balls, and pitches that I thought I should drive. So I went up there to that bat and just forced myself to stay on top of the ball, and he threw a ball down, and I just kept the bat head on top, and I was fortunate enough that I went out of the ballpark.
You've been through a lot in your career. 30 home runs now next to your name. What does that mean?
Not much. I mean, it's good because I know some of those have counted in helping the team win, and that's the most importance. But, you know, it's nice to finally be healthy and playing and doing well.
Appreciate the time.
Thank you.
Ryan Ludwig. Pat, back to you.
Brent, thank you. We're going to talk much more about Ryan Ludwig tonight. Obviously, the offensive hero. We'll talk about Todd Wellemeyer as well. I thought Brent's question to Ryan Ludwig was right on, though. The taking 3 of 4, the most important thing here, and it gets this ball club right back on track in a lot of ways.
Well, got them back on track, and they're looking forward to the road trip now and continuing on here and then getting back home with playing against a team, a Cincinnati team that they should beat. And with their bullpen rested and their lineup and their order set, everybody ready to go. They got Rick Ankiel back. They got everybody ready, set to go. So that's a good place to hit in Cincinnati, so they can continue to score some runs, score some late runs, some big hits, and get those pitchers some run and keep them rested. And some long performances, you know, the last couple days by the starters is going to help everybody out.
That's exactly right. Now let's get some more analysis now. View from the booth. It's back down to Florida. The guys who just called the game for you, Dan McLaughlin, Al Roboski, rejoin us to put a wrap on a 3-0 shutout. Has a nice ring to it, guys.
Sure does, and what a great story Ryan Ludwig has turned to here in 2008, turned into, Al. When you look at everything he's been through with the injuries, and we've talked about it, he made it to the major leagues at the age of 23, hip injury, wrist injury, ulcer, you name it, he's just about had it, but now he can put 30 home runs next to his name.
Put an all-star berth next to his name and everything else. But Ryan Ludwig got things started. He was double that drives in the first run. He had all 3 of the RBIs. Later on had the 2-run home run to really seal this victory. Great starting pitching from Wellemeyer. Good bullpen work right there. The ball club bangs out another 10+ hits, and they're, what, 58-13 when they do that. So this was a good victory. They won 3 out of 4 here, but you got to keep on grinding away, and you got to win in Cincinnati. And
Jack mentioned a real good point. The fact is Wellemeyer goes 7 2/3 tonight, so the bullpen should be rested for the 3-game series against the Reds, and then you have a bunch of off days coming up.
Yeah, you know you've got a lot of you've got a very explosive ballpark there, so you know it's got a chance for you to give up some runs and some hits there. So it's important to have those guys rested. Tony and Duncan done a great job as these guys have kind of stretched out a little bit in the second half, and you're getting longer performances from your starter, which was helpful to that tired bullpen.
We were hoping Chris Carpenter would make the start tomorrow night. We'll talk about it. It'll be Brad Thompson. He's already in Cincinnati. He flew ahead of the club, so that's coming up later in the show. Let's send it back to you, Pat.
We'll talk to you guys a bit later on. Thank you, gentlemen. How about the highlights now? We're going to pick it up in the bottom of the second. Dan Uggla up, and a scoreless tie crushes with Todd Wellemeyer's pitch deep to left and off the wall, but Felipe Lopez plays it perfectly, fires to second, and Uggla is out. He's really struggling in this series. Wasn't exactly hustling on the play either. Next half inning, still scoreless. Marlins hurler Scott Olson has Cesar Astures picked off, but Mike Jacobs fires it into left. That's a stolen base and an error. He winds up at third. It's an important play because the next batter is Ryan Ludwig. He makes the fish pay, rips a double past Luis Gonzalez in left. Astures trots home. Cardinals have a 1-0 lead on Ludwig's 88th RBI of the season. Next half inning, really the only trouble Wellemeyer gets into all night. 2-on, 2-out for Mike Jacobs. Wellemeyer gets him to fly out to center field. 1-0 Cards retaining the lead to the 6th. And this is Luis Gonzalez grounding one up the middle. Aaron Miles, a terrific play, though. Albert Pujols, a nice scoop. And the Cardinals get the out. To the 7th, a much-needed insurance provided by our player of the game, Ryan Ludwig. The low ball hitter takes one out. It's a low ball, and he drills it. 2-run shot, 30th homer of the season, 90th RBI, the 35th time a Cardinal has reached the 30 home run mark in a season, and still has a month and a half left in this season. So Ryan Ludwig powers the Cardinals to a 3-0 shutout victory behind the 7 2/3 shutout innings. 3 hit ball of Todd Wellemeyer plus Springer, Vallone, and Franklin coming out of the pen. The Cardinals are one of 3 teams in baseball now with 3 10-game winners. The Angels, by the way, have 4 10-game winners, but I think the Cardinals are pretty happy with Todd Wellemeyer getting his 10th victory of the season. And it is the 7th shutout for the Cardinals this season, but their first since July 11th, and it all adds up to a very important victory in a 3 games out of 4 against the Florida Marlins. Let's go to Milwaukee. The Brewers actually in San Diego, riding an 8-game winning streak. Pair of aces on the mound. Jake Peavy, Ben Cheeks, both shutting out the teams in the 6th, but in the 7th, runner on second for Mike Cameron, and he delivers with a single through the left side. And Bill Hall races home and just slide ahead of this throw and in safe. 1-0 Milwaukee. Next half, Padres get to Sheets. Tad Iguchi rips a single left, drops in front of Lance Nix, drives in a run. Next batter, it's Brian Myro, and he picks on Nix a bit. Recently called left fielder, makes a diving catch, but Chase Headley scores. And San Diego ends Milwaukee's winning streak at 8 games, 3-2. The final, and just as importantly, and maybe more importantly, the Cardinals winning tonight, so they're able to close the gap a little bit on the first place wild card leading Milwaukee Brewers. The Cards now just 3 games back and have improved now to 68 and 56, so they're plus 12, trying to catch the Brewers. Not conceding the NL Central yet, but certainly it's the Cubs with a pretty sizable lead, and they are really rolling tonight as well, and so it looks like they're going to maintain their 7.5-game lead on the Cardinals, even with the win tonight. So, talking wild card, also talking Todd Wellemeyer right now, and he's obviously our Gila Tech King of the Hill, Jack, for very good reason. But this is now 5 really solid starts. This is the best one of these 5 but he's been terrific basically over the last 3 weeks or so. He's really seemed to be back in that groove we saw him the first 2 months of the season.
Well, I think everybody's seeing, including myself, seeing why he was the pitcher of the month and what he's been able to do. And to be honest with you, tonight the umpire was squeezing him to death back there and could have made it a lot more difficult, where even the offense and the defense were confused on, the offense and Todd was confused on exactly what was going on back there. So you don't really ever see that, where both of them are kind of confused. So the umpire had everybody's numbers, just was having a bad night. But he pitched through that and didn't let it get to him and showed a lot of poise out there, and it was good to see. So, he's a good guy that you're going to have down the stretch. So, a couple good back-to-back performances, not good, great back-to-back performances, and so huge help and a lift to that whole team. And with Carpenter possibly coming back and Wainwright, things keep continuing looking good, and they never give up. Tony looks for one game at a time, but he's absolutely looking down the road. He's looked down the road before. He knows exactly what that schedule is to the very end, and he's got it planned out.
And they'll find much more about Carpenter coming up. We'll talk about that later in the show. Let's go inside the numbers a little bit more, as our Gila Tech King of the Hill is Todd Wellemeyer. 7 2/3 innings, Jack. That's a career high. His 112 pitches tonight equals a career high that he set in his last start. I mentioned as well that he becomes the third Cardinal starter to earn 10 or more wins. And so it really adds up to a rotation, a starting rotation that was kind of maligned a little bit, I think, over the last month and a half. But they're right back to where they were, and so this is just another example of a string now of starting pitching that's been very good for this Cardinal Ball Club.
Well, I thought he was going to go the whole 9. It looked like Tony was over 100 pitches, and looked like they were going to go with him and let him go ahead and finish the whole thing out. So, he came very close, and he probably could have gone out there and gutted it out, but he had done his job, and everybody needs to get a little bit of time out there too and stay sharp.
Scott Olson, the Cardinals hit him hard a lot early on. They didn't really get many runs against him, certainly, but they did beat a lefty, and now they improved to 21-22 against lefty starters this season. Still much more to come on U.S. Cellular Cardinals Live. More from Jack coming up as well. And we'll take you inside the Cardinal clubhouse, talk more about Ryan Ludwig and what a threat he's becoming.
U.S. Cellular Cardinals Live is brought to you by Casual, Comfortable, Fruit of the Loom, and by Country Financial. Real people, real answers, real quick.
Our key of play today could have been a number of things. Wellemeyer, it could have been Ludwig, but we're going to give it to the nice defensive play turned in by Aaron Miles in the 6th inning. He robs Luis Gonzalez of a hit. Nice backhand, then he throws across his body, and I think the replay, one we saw he was out, another one looked like he was safe. But the point is, he was out because the umpire said so, and that's all that matters, and that's our key of play of the day. Todd Wellemeyer, a career-high 7 2/3 shutout innings, getting the win, his 10th of the season. Let's go inside the Cardinal clubhouse back at Dolphin Stadium and hear from Todd Wellemeyer.
2/3. Yeah, that was nice. I felt pretty good all day. Wish I could have gone 9.
Do you still have it, you think?
I don't know, I was pretty tired out there, but it's a good team and kept the ball down on them, so that's what he had to do.
It seemed like it was a little tough for you to grasp what exactly the strike zone was tonight. Was that a struggle?
I mean, it was tight. It was outside corner was pretty tight, but I mean, it was real all game, so I mean, it wasn't wavering or anything, so you just got to adjust.
Is that beneficial when it is kind of small? I mean, you don't have a whole lot to work with, so you focus a little bit more, or is that reading too much into it?
Well, I mean, if it's the zone that I'm going to get, and I know it, then that's what I work with. So you just have to adjust to it. So, I mean, it wasn't like he was bad at all back there, but I mean, he was just calling the game. He did a good job.
Todd, how have you gained strength here over the last, say, handful of starts from what you were going through coming back from a sore elbow?
Just throwing and getting out there more that's the best conditioning you can do, is just throw more innings.
Did you have any hesitation or concerns about what you would be doing in August and September with this kind of innings load that you've never seen before?
No, I mean, I usually finish strong, so I mean, last year I did it, and I don't see why I can't do it this year.
There's got to be a little something extra when you're going up against a team that cut you loose.
Yeah, there's a little bit extra for sure. I mean, I know all those guys. It's a good team over there. Good group of dudes, and good young hitters, man.
It's fair to say that it's kind of fun out there as a competitor. I mean, there's no way around it. It's fun to go out there and shut down a team.
Yeah, you could talk to him a little bit after you get him out, or something like that. But I mean, you can't really think about that too much out there. I used to get in my head a little bit, knowing a guy I was up against. But yeah, you just gotta ignore it.
Back-to-back starts, though, you've got a chance to kind of throw against teams that you couldn't throw for.
Exactly. Yeah, I don't know how it worked out, but it's a funny game.
You guys took 3 out of 4 here. I mean, just generally, how big is that for the team?
It's huge. Yeah, especially with Milwaukee losing tonight. We finally got a game on them. So hopefully they'll lose and we'll win.
What does it say about the rotation, the bullpen, the defense? You held this powerful team, like call them, to 10 runs in 4 games.
Yeah, I mean, we've been, we slipped a little bit, a few weeks ago, and we'll get back right on track how we were earlier in the season.
Coming up, our freeze of the game brought to you by Taco Bell's new Frutista Freeze, available in 2 delicious flavors, topped with real fresh strawberries. Refresh your day. Jack, you talked about it earlier. Wellemeyer getting squeezed by home plate umpire Ted Barrett. And then here, he gets a strike call, and he goes, what? To the umpire, and of course the batter also going what? To the umpire, both not happy with the call.
That was the worst one he threw of the bunch, so yeah, they've given one back to him and taken one away, and I mean, everybody was confused on that one. Even Gotti sitting there going, should I throw it back or maybe throw this ball out and start all over? So anyway, I came back and went right after him, got him, another big out, so outstanding job.
And you mentioned before, just the fact that he didn't let that get to him. We've seen in the past, perhaps other starting pitchers, not just for the Cardinals, other teams too, kind of lose their control, lose their confidence, lose their head when they get squeezed like that. But not Todd Wellemeyer tonight. To Phil in Columbia, first up on our U.S. Cellular text message. It's a bad idea to bat the pitcher 8. How many runners do we have to leave on base to realize it's a bad idea? And what he's referring to, I believe, is as well as Todd Wellemeyer pitched on the mound, well, he had one of those kind of nights at the plate that you kind of cringe at. He came up with runners on in 3 consecutive at-bats, in the 2nd, the 4th, and the 6th, and he made the 3rd out in each of those situations, striking out. And Jack, he had runners in scoring position of 2 of those 3 at-bats, 5 guys left on base. It begs the question from Cardinal fans over and over, why bat the pitcher 8th when things like that happen? But we'll, unfortunately, out of time right now. For that segment, we'll have to get to that a little later on. Stick around, more to come on Cardinals Live.